He won Funniest Comic in Tulsa in 2022. Please welcome Ethan Sandoval.
Thank you all for being here. I appreciate it so much. On Sunday, I looked at the tickets and it was like 4 sold, and I was like, fuck. I made a mistake. I was good at moving. I am so happy you guys are here. I actually just got back from Chicago. I went to go get some stuff taken care of, and I got back at 10 o'clock last night. And yeah, I don't know, thank you. And when I got back, our new puppy came up to like greet me. Like, I was laying on my bed, just relaxing. I had my shirt off because it was hot. I'm laying there, and my puppy, who's a menace, decides to like come in and like jumps up there. And for once, she's like sweet because she hasn't seen me in like 3 days. You know, so she's like, "Oh, I love him so much." And she like lays down, puts her little head on my chest, and it's like quiet, and we're just laying there underneath the fan for a few seconds, and then she bit my nipple and ran. And I was like, "You what? I dare you!" To anyone who says it's worse having a child than a dog, shut up. It's not. Listen, whenever your kid needs to poop, you don't have to take them outside, okay? You're fine. You don't have to walk around, well, I guess maybe you have to walk around with a bag trying to catch your kid's poop while it falls. Maybe it's the same, I don't know. I assume every parent has had their child bite their nipple at one point, so I guess it's probably pretty similar. I'm really glad to be here. I'm excited to move to Chicago, though. I'm excited because I am from a small town. I grew up in a pretty small town. Like right now, the place I live, you can't Google it. That's how small it is. If you Google it, a resort comes up. So that's not where I live. But I was looking, I went back to visit the town I grew up in, and when I was there, a friend of mine who still lives there came up to me, and he was like, "Hey man, you been down Main Street? There's a lot of changes. The Dollar General moved, and that's it." I was like, "That's not a lot of change. You don't know what that definition is." So another way I found out I was from a small town was I saw a billboard that said, "Shackled by lust, Jesus can help." I was like, is Jesus gonna blow me? Is that what I'm fine if he does, but I was just so confused by the wording of it. I really was. And I just want to say, I was raised Catholic. I grew up Catholic. I went to Catholic school for 12 years. I went to church 2 times a week for 12 years. And did I miss the sermon where they said, "And thou shalt not take graphic design courses"? Why is every billboard for a church the ugliest thing I've ever seen? Why do they always? It's always like a sad baby in 3 different fonts, and the baby has Getty Images over its forehead. It's like, I don't care what you believe, but can we at least get a nicer design for the church? And like, do protesters at like pride parades get their signs printed at the same Kinko's? Why do they all have the same flames? Why do they all look the same? I was driving down the street past a Walgreens, and there was a guy standing in the parking lot holding a sign that said, "Jesus is coming, repent." And I was kind of impressed, because I don't have that kind of conviction about anything. I have no conviction about anything to stand somewhere holding a sign. But then I looked at the sign more, and I realized it was printed in Comic Sans. And I was like, even Jesus would have, when he came back, would be like, "Hey, can we get like a little professionalism? Just like a little, can we get something with a serif, please? Give me like a Gothica or Bloomberg, or maybe even a Times New Roman, you know? And we all know how I feel about the Romans. So I have a dark sense of humor, and I think that when you have a dark sense of humor, people tend to think that you're sad. And I'm not a good representative of this, because I don't think you are sad if you have a dark sense of humor. I am, but if you have a dark sense of humor, I just think you like things that maybe most people wouldn't laugh at. But whenever people think you're sad, they want to cheer you up, you know? So my friends, they were like, hey Ethan, you're sad. And that guy over there is sad. You two should be friends. And I was like, you don't know how sadness works. Because two sads don't make a happy. They make a pact. I see I chose the right crowd for that. A thing I'm sure you all know is I have autism. And I didn't always have autism, but a kid handed me a fidget spinner and I caught it, so... You should be careful, it's going around, and around, and around, and around. I'm glad you guys laughed at that, because I told that joke in Joplin, Missouri, and it was crickets. They were like, that's how you get it, continue. Because I have autism, I do tend to try to keep up on the studies about autism. Ooh, nice cut now. On the studies about autism, you know, I try to make sure I know what's going on, because most of the research on autism was done in the last 10 years or by Nazis. That's all. I'm just being honest. These children are not paying attention. They lack concentration. And most of the research that was done was not to help people who have autism. It was to help people who have children who have autism. And they were like, there was why doesn't my children stop when I beat them? And they were like, oh, hit them harder. That was all the research. So there's a lot of good research coming out in the last few years that is helpful to people like me. So I tried to read the studies. And I was reading a study that came out recently, and it said that there are chimpanzees that have autism. And I have the same question you guys all have, which is, when did we start vaccinating chimpanzees? You see, I should have worn a mask. But also, what's the test, right? What's the test to find out if a chimpanzee has autism? You know, it's he doesn't like when his bananas touch any other food on his plate. Or he's 27 and still lives in his parents' tree. He throws poop at people, but he doesn't make eye contact when he does it, so... I think when I move to Chicago, I might run for office. I think who laughed at that? How dare you? Me and my watermelon shirt will do just fine. But I think I've come up with a law that I feel like everyone can agree on. And that law is this. If you go into Walmart and you grab a popcorn chicken and you eat it as you walk through the store, and then you poop before you leave, you didn't steal anything. It just changed. It's their fault. I do it too. So lackadaisically. Every time I go into research, I grab 2 cookies and then just walk through the store. And I leave. That's my lunch. I don't buy anything. I just walk through the store, eat 2 cookies, and I'm like, all right, peace. Thank you so much, Jeff. I appreciate it. I am not a crook. I'm single, which, is fun. I'm used to it at this point. I've been single for 8 years, minus 4 months, but I've been single for 8 years, and we don't talk about the dark times. But in that period, I feel like, you've been single for a year or two, I can understand you wanting to, find love or find romance or being like, I miss having someone to hold. And it's after 8 years, you're like, I'll have a McRib for dinner again, I guess. More Reese's cookies for me, it's fine. And, but I'm not worried about it. I'm trying to focus on myself, I'm trying to lose weight, I'm trying to get in shape, And I did realize that the reason that I am single is that I don't know how to talk to people. To give you an example, I was in a restaurant, and I won't say the name, but it rhymes with Brick-fil-A, and it was a Wendy's, and I was in there, and there was a girl behind the counter, and she was very pretty, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try to strike up a conversation, see if maybe something happens. You never know, because that's what fast food workers want, get a hit on them. And so I went, somebody worked at fast food. So I went, and I talked to her, and I was like, she had a necklace on. I was like, I'll compliment her necklace. And I was like, hey, I like your necklace. And she was not interested. She had what I like to call falling down a well voice. She was like, what? Thank you. But somebody let me know. Is that her? Her voice got deep. It just made everything awkward. The whole situation was just very awkward. And I realized at that moment that I had to do something to break the tension. And instead of doing what I should have done, which is shutting the fuck up, I decided I was going to crack a joke, right? I was going to crack a joke, and that'll ease all the tension, right? So she filled up my soda. She's filling up my soda, and as she's doing it, it fills up with a lot of fizz. Just so much. I was like, I know what I should do that'll ease this tension. I'll say, hey, you should put your finger in my drink, right? But the problem is I had no confidence when I said it. So it came out as, hey, you should put your finger in my drink. And it was not her pleasure. I'm going to tell you that right now. Speaking of fast food, I am sick and fucking tired of people saying that Arby's is the worst fast food restaurant. I'm sick of it! I will not stand for this slander. Arby's is fine. It's okay. I'm not saying it's good, but it's decent. Occasionally you want roast beef and they can satisfy that hankering for you, alright? I'm so sick of people saying it's gross, especially, they say it's the worst, and how can you say that when Long John Silver's still exists? They have a food that's literally telling you to shut up, so I don't... Boy, I think we talked about, I do have a dark sense of humor, and I do think that kind of comes from the fact that when I was in 8th grade, I was put on suicide watch. Yeah, the reason I was put on suicide watch is that they found my suicide note. The problem is they did not find my suicide note. What happened was I had printed out the lyrics to Last Resort by Papa Roach. And they were like, this kid's gonna fucking kill himself. I like to think though, like somewhere, I like to think at least one of the guidance counselors was like looking at it and was like, it's a catchy ass suicide note. Cut my life into pieces. This is not this resort. Oh yeah. I'm stupid. Fuck Psychoids. I'm stupid. I realize that I'm not. I tend to get very passionate about the things I believe in, but sometimes I'm not 100% on what the thing I believe in is, and then I look like a dumbass. So, look, I got into an argument with someone that ended in a breakup. We broke up over this argument, and I was wrong. I want to make this very clear. I was wrong. The argument we got into was I thought that asparagus was a zodiac sign. This is the correct response. I take my lumps. My lovely lady lumps. And I was so certain. I was 100%. I was like, no, they're asparaguses. They're born between January 2nd and February 3rd. They're very anxious and their pee smells weird. But you know what? It's not my fault, all right? I get hot-headed, but that's just who I am. I'm an aquarium, and that's what we do. So I got a vasectomy last year, which is probably good based on that last argument I was in. You don't need to pass those genes on. But I got the vasectomy, and I will say, like, I'm glad I got it. And I did find out that after you get a vasectomy, I was talking to people about it, and there's a lot of misconceptions about vasectomies. Like, I was talking with a friend of mine, and I was telling him he should get one. Because mine, I thought, it was very affordable, it was very easy, very painless, and now I don't have to worry about being an accidental dad. I don't have to worry about Mr. Magooing myself into fatherhood, you know? Just like, oh no, I'm a dad! So I don't have to worry about that. So I was telling him, like, hey, if you don't want to do that, you should get a vasectomy. It's not that bad. And he was like, yeah, I don't know, man. I just don't want things to change, you know? And I was like, what do you think's gonna change? And he was like, well, after you get a vasectomy, you don't anymore. I was like, what? He was like, after you get a vasectomy, you don't anymore. And I was like, do you think after you get a vasectomy, you don't come anymore? That's not how it works. It's not like I got a vasectomy and all of a sudden my penis is throwing up on an empty stomach. It's like, hey baby, I'm gonna come. I'm gonna come. Put everybody saltines and Sprite, please. Just like a penis with an ice pack on its forehead. Oh, thank you. Another guy I was talking to after I got the vasectomy was like, hey man, you got a vasectomy, that's pretty good. Bet you're saving a lot of money on condoms. And I was like, that wasn't a big expenditure. I wasn't doing my budget every week and being like, condoms through the roof. It was a lot of Arby's again? Sorry. I will say, I did find out that my vasectomy apparently wasn't normal. I'll give you an example. So, like, for me, the process of getting a vasectomy was I went to the doctor, I called to be like, can I get an appointment to get a vasectomy? And they were like, we'll see you in 3 months. So then, like, 3 months go by, I go in, they go, okay, you can have a vasectomy in another 3 months. So it took 6 months. It took 6 whole months to get this taken care of, right? And the reason I say that is because I don't want men to think that if they talk to their doctor about getting their vasectomy, he's just going to pull out a pair of hedge clippers and be like, let's do it right now! It's a process. It takes time. Sorry, like, you're not, there would never be a Seinfeld episode where he comes back and he's like, Jerry, I came in, or no, Jerry, fuck. George, I went to the doctor, when I was at the doctor, he gave me a vasectomy, and George was like, that's why you can't trust him. You can't trust him, Jerry. That's not gonna happen. I shouldn't do that impression, I'm very bad at it. Regardless, that's not gonna happen. And so I went in, and they told me, they were like, before your vasectomy, we're gonna give you a Valium. And I was like, rad. I was like, listen, I don't have to have kids, and I get drugs, sure. So I go, and they put me in the waiting room, and the nurse comes in, and she gives me a little thing with a pill in it, and I was like, that's my Valium. So I take it. And then she goes, all right, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take you into the surgery room, which was like an office. Like, this is done in like an office building. So that was a little... So they take me in, and they put me in there, and they're like, all right, here's what we need you to do. We need you to take your pants and your underwear off. Do not take your shirt off, which was a little hurtful. I was like, do you tell that to everyone? And then she goes, you can leave your socks on or take them off. It is your choice. And I decided to take them off because I don't know if you've ever seen a man wearing just socks and a shirt. But he looks more naked than you've ever seen him in your entire life. So then I lay down on the table and I'm Winnie the Pooh in it there. And I'm laying there, shirt, nothing else. And then they say, put this little cloth over you to cover yourself. And I was like, okay. So I have this little cloth over me. But 5 minutes later, the doctor walks in and he whips the cloth off and he goes, that looks great. And I was like, thank you. It's like, perfect. He was talking about my shave job, but I assumed it was my penis. I was like, I need any win I could get at this point. So then, out there, he's taking it off and laying there, and then he takes a, one of those surgical fields, the blue cloths that they use to keep the area sterile, and he goes to lay it on me, and the surgical field has a circle cut in it, and I gotta tell you, it was a generous circle. I was like, we don't need all of that, I appreciate the thought, but we're gonna be fine. So he lays that down over the area, and he pulls out the tools and just goes, all right, I'm gonna start numbing you up. The Valium has not kicked in at this point. Yeah! Valium has not kicked in. But we're just going through it. I'm like, I'm not going to stop him midway. What if he cuts the wrong tube? I'm not going to do that. I was terrified. So I was like, all right, I'm just going to sit there. And he does it, does the right one, does the left one. We're done. He's finished. We've done the whole procedure. And then I'm laying there, and he's wrapping up the tools to take them to go to them sterilized, and he goes, okay, so you're all good to go, just ice it for a while, we're gonna get you some pain pills, and we're gonna send them to the same pharmacy we sent your Valium to. And I was like, you gave me a Valium in the waiting room. And he was like, that was an antibiotic. I was like, I didn't get any Valium. And he went, you're not on Valium right now. And I went, no. And then he said, oops. And I was like, you don't get to say oops. You don't get to say that. You're holding a bloody scalpel. You don't get to say oops. And then he said, well, funny thing about it is, if you get bet, since you didn't have to take the Valium, you could have just driven yourself home. And I was like, thanks, my stepmom brought me here, and it's taking me home. So this was her day. Her day was dropping me off at this office building, buying 2 bags of frozen peas, and then picking me up. That was her day. I didn't have to involve her in any of this. So I'm recovering, which recovery is a joke. It was like 6 hours, and I was like, we're good. So, but I'm recovering. There was not somebody waiting for me. There wasn't somebody chomping at the bit like, I hope you healed up soon. Like, I was just like, we're good. Time to keep doing nothing. But so while I'm recovering, I decided to watch some YouTube videos, about other people's experiences, because I wanted to know if they had similar experiences. And there was there's 2 guys actually, who shared a video of them, like the whole process, them going, getting the vasectomy, all that. And I was like, cool, I'll watch this. So I watched it. And theirs went very differently than mine. Firstly, they got their Valium, which I was very upset about. And they were fighting over who got to take it first, which was real rubbing it in my face. So then, they go into the doctor's office. Doctor doesn't tell them to keep their shirt on. So, again, just real, my balls already hurt, but they're just kicking me in them. And then, the final part of it is the doctor pulls out a little piece of tape. And they go, what's that for? At the same time I was going, what's that for? And the doctor goes, oh, this is so I can tape your penis out of the way so it doesn't get in the way while we're doing surgery. He didn't have to do that for me. So I found out I have a medically small penis. That's what I discovered. So, real happy about that. Don't awe me. You get out of here. Yeah, I appreciate that. I was on I don't know how to transition out of that. I was online and I saw an ad for a website. Hold on. I saw an ad for a website that was selling it was selling like you can print a plaque that has the Google Maps location of your first date. And on it, it said, it was the example they used was Cheesecake Factory. And I was like, if my first date was at a Cheesecake Factory, I would want no proof. I want no proof that I've ever stepped foot in a Cheesecake Factory. If our anniversary, as a matter of fact, would be going to burn down that Cheesecake Factory. Alright, I guess we all love Cheesecake Factory. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to upset you. I'm South American. I'm Chilean. My father is an immigrant. He's from Chile. Yeah. Woo. Chileans here apparently. Go away. Don't you have a mind to be working in? Get out of here. So I was there, and my dad is Chilean, and he. The problem is my dad moved here when he was 5, so he's like the whitest man I know. Like my dad forgets that he's Hispanic. Like one time we were in a Mexican restaurant. We are eating our food, and as we're eating our food, my dad stops, kind of looks around, and goes, I think we're the only white people here. And I went, really, Miguel? You think we're the only white people here? As I said, I am single, and I'm working on myself, and my friends can't handle that. Like, my friends need me in a relationship so bad, to the point where anytime a woman walks up to me and talks to me, they will be like, hey Ethan, who was that lady? I think she was into you. Like a homeless woman could ask me for change. And they'd be like, hey Ethan, who was that lady? I think she was into you. And I was like, I just have quarters and she's got a lot of laundry. But to give you a real example, one time I was at a show and my mom came to the show. And while she was there, she came up to talk to me. And I went to talk to her because it's my mom. I wasn't going to be like, thanks for coming, see you later, bitch. I was like, no, hey, mom. Thanks, appreciate it. I appreciate you supporting me. And so my mom talks to me, she leaves, and then like 3 friends come up to me and they're like, hey, Ethan, how was that lady? I think she was into you. And I was like, that's my mom! She doesn't want to sleep with me. Although, that is the only vagina I've ever destroyed, so... The worst part is, my mom loves that joke. My mom thinks that joke is so funny. To the point where if she's in the audience, she will turn to people around her and be like, it's true, I really did. Her shoulders, they were so wide. I had to have a C-section for the next joke. I've been trying to lose weight. I've lost about 85 pounds, which is fun. I appreciate it. I will say, like, I did get winded walking from backstage to here, so we've still got a ways to go. But I've been losing weight, and I realized that the reason I have such a hard time losing weight and keeping the weight off is that I don't think healthy. I don't think about eating in a healthy way. Like, I was talking to a friend of mine, and he was like, oh God, I think that hot dog I ate earlier gave me diarrhea. And I was like, you eat so healthy, you can pinpoint what thing you ate today gave you diarrhea? Everything I ate today could have given me diarrhea. I eat like a raccoon going through a breakup. Are you fucking kidding me? How was I supposed to know it was her sister? We're all wearing masks. I don't know. I don't think I'll ever be super healthy. Although, I will say, in trying to get healthy, I've gotten lame. I'm so lame now. Like, I wake up in the morning and I get excited about eating oatmeal with peanut butter. And I'm like, you fucking nerd. Every morning I wake up and I'm like, ooh, I get to eat oatmeal with peanut butter in it. And then I get disgusted with myself, but in a whole new way. Like, I used to get disgusted about myself by looking in the mirror, but now I just, like, I'm eating food, just being like, what happened to you, man? You're different. I've gone to Chicago. I've been to Illinois before. I have been a couple times. I went, the first time I went, I was performing in Peoria, Illinois, because I'm a big shot. And I went there, and I messed up, right? So, I feel like a lot of comedians are like worried about bombing on stage. And I am not, because I found out there's worse things that can happen. And I found that out in Peoria, Illinois. Because what happened was, we left for Peoria, Illinois in January. And I packed for the weather here. And it was 40 degrees here. And then we got to Peoria, Illinois, and it was -2. So, yeah, I was freezing. And what happened was, We also got there so early. Our Airbnb didn't open until 3 p.m. and we got there at 4 in the morning. So we had to sleep in the parking lot of a Target. So I got real sick. I got very sick. And so we had 3 shows to do that weekend. So we do the first show, everything goes fine. Then the second show, I'm gonna do 25 minutes. And then Landry is going to do 25 minutes, and then after that, we're going to talk to the audience for a while, right? That's the plan. That's the plan for the show. So I start the show. I'm doing my stand-up. It's going fine. And about 12 minutes in, I hit the punchline of the joke, and I was like, ha! And then I shit myself. Yeah! Oh yeah! And then this is exactly how it looked to the audience. I was like, oh my God! Like that's exactly what happened. And then I didn't know what to do, and this is when I realized that I'm a professional. Because I proceeded to do 13 more minutes of stand-up. What are you clapping for? I did 13 minutes of stand-up with shit in my pants. And so then I finish, and then I have to bring Landry on stage. And this is how I brought Landry on stage, right? Here you go. Here's how it goes. I just took off. I just sprinted through the lobby of this hotel where this anime convention was happening. And then that's where we were performing. Like I said, big shots. So there, I run into the bathroom, and then I clean up. And then I have to go get back on stage with recently shat pants. So I go and I get on stage, and Landry has a mic, and he hands me a mic, and he goes, "Hey, Ethan, welcome back. Something happened in the middle of your set. What happened?" And I didn't know what to do, so I just said, "I shit my pants." And in front of a crowd of people, into a microphone, just like now. And then Landry went, "You know you could lie, right?" Oh, God. Can't wait to go back. I realized that I have a very interesting personality. I have what I like to call illegal or fake ID personality, which is that I always have the energy of a 20-year-old trying to sneak into a bar with a fake ID. I'm always that level of nervous. And that was really brought to my attention when recently, so I don't drink. I've never been much of a drinker. And so a friend of mine, I was going to a party, and he was like, "Hey, can you pick up some beer and bring it to the party?" And I firstly had to ask, do they sell Pabst Blue Ribbon at Walmart? Because I don't know. I truly don't know where they sell certain beers, because that's how little I drink, right? So then I go in. I want to make this very clear. This was 2 months ago that this happened, right? This is 2 months ago. I go in, I grab the Pabst Blue Ribbon, and then as I'm walking to check out, I get nervous. I'm 27 years old. And I'm walking like, oh fuck, they're gonna catch me, I'm gonna get arrested. They're gonna arrest me because I'm buying beer, and I can't buy beer. It doesn't matter that I'm 27, there's a law that if you're scared and you buy beer, you're gonna get arrested. And I was so sure, I'm certain of it. So then I get to the checkout, right? And of course I can't do the auto checkout because it's beer, right? So I get to the checkout, and I'm sweating. I am dripping with sweat. And I put the beer, it's the only thing I have, I put it on the thing. The cashier couldn't give less of a shit. The cashier was like, here you go, and then he's like, again, is your ID? And I was like, and then he goes, do you want a bag or a receipt? And I went, no, I don't need a bag. I was lowering my voice. I was lowering my voice to sound older to buy a beer at 27 years old. I'm moving into an apartment by myself. I'm so fucked. Oh boy. I will say this. I'm a fairly nervous person, and certain things make me I struggle with mental health stuff. But there's one thing that always makes me happy, and that is the aquarium. I love the aquarium so much. It's so fun. I go there anytime I'm feeling sad or angry. I love it so much. By the way, it doesn't take a lot to make me angry. I realized I got mad the other day because I was reminded of the fact that when I was a child, I lied constantly. I lied all the time. I lied about everything. I one time told my stepsister that I was attacked by wolves and was in the hospital for months. She lived with me. This is very easily verified information. And I would just lie about everything, right? And my parents would get on to me about this all the time. And they were like, you cannot lie to anyone. You cannot lie for any reason. Stop lying. It's not good. Definitely don't lie to authority figures, right? And then I found out about all this thing called exceptions to the rule. And that pissed me off so much because there's apparently exceptions to lying. And you might be asking, Ethan, what are the exceptions to lying? Everything! You're apparently supposed to be lying to everyone all the time. And I didn't know this. I got pulled over by a police officer one time, and the police officer was like, were you speeding? And I was like, yes, I was. And then he gave me a ticket, right? And then my stepmom, one of the people who told me not to lie, who is also a lawyer, came up, was like, what, you got a speeding ticket, why? I was like, because I was speeding and I told the cop, and she was like, you fucking idiot! Never tell the cops the truth! And I was like, what you said? You said always let it go! And always never lie! You said always tell the truth! And then on top of that, you're apparently supposed to lie on your resume. I wasn't aware of this. The place that employs you, you're supposed to be like, yeah, I've done this job for 7 years, even though this is my first day doing it. I wasn't aware. All my friends are like, yeah, I have a master's degree. And I'm like, you're drunk in this bar and you just snorted cocaine. If you have a master's degree, you're the most impressive person I've ever seen. And then you're supposed to apparently lie to your doctor? I wasn't told about this. The guy whose job it is to keep you alive, if he asks you how you hurt yourself, you're apparently supposed to lie and tell him a not embarrassing way that you hurt yourself. So yeah, how'd you get that thing up your butt? You're supposed to be like, oh, I fell. You're like, we can't just be honest and be like, it feels good. Like, what the fuck? I hate it. Anyway, so I was at the aquarium, and back on track. Sorry, side note. And I went into the aquarium, and I like going to the aquarium, and it cheers me up because every fish looks like it's having the worst day of its life. I don't know if you ever, every fish just looks like, or they look like Trump, just like. It's real hard to be mad when you see that. It's real fun. So I go to the aquarium to look at all these fish, and for some reason, the sadness of fish is not cheering me up like it normally does. And I think it was because I saw a one-eyed fish, and it made me sad, because I saw him and I was like, man, and I thought depth perception was important for a human. All right. But I went in there, and I go into the aquatic mammals section, and I'm in the aquatic mammals section, and in there was like a beaver, and an otter, and a raccoon for some reason. Even the raccoon looked like, I don't know what the fuck I'm here. It looked like it had broke in, and then was like, you know what, this is a pretty sweet gig. 3 hounds and a cop, can't complain. He was also going through a breakup, and So I was in there, and when I walked in there, this beaver like made eye contact with me, and it started following me around the whole time I was in there. And after a while, like after like 5 minutes, I was like, I gotta get a better look at this beaver. I should change the wording. But I was like, I gotta get a better look at this beaver, right? So I go up to the glass and I put my hand on it to look in at the beaver, right? And as I'm looking in there, I swear to you, the beaver put its hand on my hand on the other side of the glass. I know, I was like, it's like we're prison lovers. I was like, I'll wait for you, Bucky, I swear. I'll take care of Buck Jr., I promise. So I'm in there, and I got and in that moment, all of my sadness melted away. Because I was like, oh my God, this beaver loves me, which means that nature loves me, which means that the universe loves me. I was on shrooms. And I was like, this is so good, I love this so much. And then, as my hand is there, I see something start to float behind the beaver. And I was like, what the fuck? And I look around, and it's one turd just floating. And that is when I realized the beaver did not have a magical connection with me. It just was really straining to take a shit. It was just like, oh God, I shouldn't have that mahogany earlier. And immediately my mood flipped, and I was like, fuck you, beaver! We had something! We had a connection, we could have had a future together, and you shit all over it! And I run out, and I'm crying, and then as I run out, I run past this fish tank, and there's a fish in it, and he's just swimming like this, and I'm like, what do you want, fish? And the fish was like, I think that beaver was into you.